Welcome to the Spooky Scary Show. We are two friends in two different states who discuss all things spooky, scary, and just downright strange. We read new stories every week. If you would like to suggest a topic or submit a paranormal story, email us at spookyscaryshow@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram and Facebook for spooky facts and updates.
Hello, Ghosties and Pinky.
Hello!
How goes it?
It goes pretty well today. What about you?
I am hungover because my work had a party and we went ham and it was fun, but I am paying the price.
Oh, you always get so bad.
I do. It's not like I, go past my limits or anything. It just doesn't really matter how much I drink. I just always get, shitty.
Yeah. I'm a little hungover today, too. It's the gin.
It is! I love gin, though. It's so good.
Me too. Gin and tonic is, my favorite drink now. I didn't like it at first because I was drinking gin and seltzer because I thought tonic water was gross. And tonic water is disgusting and bitter and weird, but there's something about tonic water that, makes gin good.
Maybe it's some, science chemical reaction up in this bitch.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because have you ever had a Moscow Mule?
No.
So, Moscow Mule, I think it's vodka, but I do know they do ginger beer with it, and they serve it in a copper cup.
I've seen the cups, yeah.
Yeah, and the way the ginger beer reacts to the copper cup, it gives it, its special, unique taste or whatever.
Interesting. I didn't know that. I thought it was just, you serve it in a fancy, cool cup.
Nope. Yeah. I've been to places where they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna have to keep your ID to make sure you don't steal our copper cups. And I'm like, what? Yeah, there's a few bars. And they're like, just a reminder, guys, if you try to, steal this cup, we're gonna, add it to your tab. It's like, what the fuck?
Oh, maybe that happens a lot.
Yeah, right? Probably.
Crackheads stealing copper. Okay, so I have to tell you what happened the other day.
Yes, I'm ready. What happened?
My cats are fucking assholes. So, I think I told you before that we have, our tub faucet's been leaking a little bit. And we tried to fix it, and now it's leaking on the other valve, and it's just a big pain in the butt. I didn't think it was really leaking that much. It's annoying. You could hear, the water dripping. But anyway, our cats put their toy balls in the plugs. And we've known about this, because I pull them out all the time. You guys are assholes. Stop it. But J-Rock was like, we should probably keep the doors shut, because if they do that while we're at work, it might overflow the tub. And I'm like, no, it's not enough water.
Oh, God.
But anyway, so he closed the door in the morning, and I come home, and the cat's looking at the bottom of the door there's something going on, and I checked. And he had closed the door with the cat toy in the plug, and the bathtub was overflowing. The whole floor was wet. Yeah. I'm like, oh my god.
Oh my god.
So my carpet in the bedroom outside of the bathroom, 3 feet out, is soaking wet. I thought I got most of it. I had to move the dresser, but it went the other way, behind another desk and all the way around the corner. I'm just like, oh my god. It's been 4 days and I've had a fan on it and soaking it up with towels, and it's still not dry.
Oh no, that's not good.
No, and it smells funky.
No!
And the bottom of my dresser, it's that particle board dresser. It's all soggy and wet and ruined.
Oh no.
I'm glad they're not expensive dressers.
Yeah. So whose fault would that be? Is that J-Rock's fault or is that the cat's fault?
I mean, he should have checked, but I'm not going to be an asshole about it because I'm glad it's not me and not my fault.
You're so nice. I'd be so pissed because it's cold where you are, so that shit's never going to dry.
No, and it's humid here, so anything that's moist will mold.
Yikes.
Yeah. Fantastic. We need new carpet anyway. The cats, dug a hole in the carpet in our bedroom, so there's that.
Yeah, our cats do that too. assholes.
Why are you like this?
Why are you terrorizing my life?
Seriously,
Cute,
like, all this...
I hate you.
All this damage we have in our house is from my asshole cats.
Climbing up on the doorways.
Yes, she did it today. She jumped like 5 feet up in the air and hung on to the door frame. I'm like, get the fuck down. I hate you.
I love it.
So there's that.
Oh, man. So when are you guys gonna get the tub fixed?
We'll probably go tomorrow to get valves.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have anything crazy going on. Oh, actually, I didn't tell you this. So, for my work party that we had last night, we had drink tickets to get like 2 free drinks or whatever. But I had extra drink tickets because your girl ain't got no man no more. So I'm like, I'm keeping these. I deserve these. And anyways, so I went up there twice, and the bartender was very nice and whatever. And so the third time, I'm like, kind of feeling pretty good. My work hired this guy to do magic. So I was kind of like watching the magic show or whatever. And then I turned back around, and he's like leaning all forward on the thing. And I was like, what? And he's like, hey, I accidentally put soda water instead of like tonic water or something. You might want to try it just to make sure it tastes good. And I was just like, oh, okay. So I took it and took a sip, and I was like, okay, it's good. And then he just like, continued just to kind of like lean over, and I just like awkwardly looked at him, spun around, and then refused to go back to the bar for the rest of the night. So that was fun.
Awkward.
Oh, that was fun. And then everybody, was giving me shit about it. Go get us free shots, Michaela! And I'm like, stop it! I'm never going over there again!
Oh, man. You gotta work it, girl.
Oh, God. I shut down. I am just like, I don't know what to do with my body all of a sudden. I'm just like, what?
What do I do with my hands?
Why am I moving like this? Is this a mating dance right now?
Oh my god.
Oh my god. So, I don't know how to transition out of that one, but what's the topic this week, Pinky?
Awkward dudes at bars.
Hell yeah, and this is how you get them, and you take them home, okay? You refuse to talk to them, they hate the rejection, and makes them want you more.
This is now like a life skills podcast where we talk to you about life skills. I don't know.
Life skills. Yes.
Life skills from us. Weird.
When you squeeze a lime into your gin, you might want to close your eyes just to make sure nothing squirts in there.
Great life skill. Great
That's
life
right.
skill. Yeah. Okay, for real though, our topic is black-eyed children.
Ooh. So, black-eyed children is kind of like a new phenomenon. I think that's how you say that word.
Phenomena. Phenomena.
And I don't know, it kind of just came to light within like the 80s to the 90s really, but I have a little tidbit about the background. Black-eyed children have but one consistent request, and that is to invite us in. Whatever you do, don't invite them into your home.
Dun dun dun.
They knock on doors and tap on windows all over the world, asking to be let in. Don't let them in. Imagine this. You and your better half, or me and Pinky, are on our way home after a late night of drinks. And we pull into a convenience store and we wait in the car while Pinky runs in the store for more beer. I'm sitting there in the dark, waiting for her to return, when suddenly I get an inexplicable, overwhelming feeling of terror. I sit up a little straighter and glance towards the driver's side window. Oh, that's a bad analogy. I guess no drinking and driving, children. Anyways. There, staring at you, are two children, but not just any children. These are black-eyed children, and they want to get into the car with you. Oh, sound like something from a horror movie? Well, it's not. It's as real as it gets, according to David Weatherly, a paranormal investigator and author who has written a book called Black-Eyed Children. Incidences and or visitations by these strange children are occurring worldwide. They have one simple request. They want to come in. Weatherly says that there are thousands of reported sightings of these black-eyed children. Sometimes they travel in pairs, sometimes in groups, and sometimes you'll just see one. Witnesses report these weird children asking to come into the house to use the phone or for a ride home because they are lost or forgot something. They speak in a demanding monotone, and regardless of what it is said to them, they don't say much more than, "Let us in, we won't hurt you, this won't take long."
I hate it.
Which, yeah, like if you do go to Reddit and you read, Reddit stories of what people post, it's literally almost all the same.
I have a couple from Reddit.
Mm-hmm. Their most outstanding feature is their solid black eyes completely void of color or light, showing no pupil or irises. Witnesses say looking into these eyes evoke intense feelings of terror. Could they be wearing black contact lenses? Weatherly agrees that this may be true in some cases. However, black lenses covering the entire surface of the eye would not only be expensive, but extremely uncomfortable. These strange black-eyed children who can appear or vanish at a moment's notice seem to be between the ages of 8 and 16. And sometimes they are adults as well. Their skin is pale or pasty colored, described by someone as looking plastic or artificial, and their mannerisms are just odd. Witnesses describe their clothing as odd and drab, blue jeans and a hoodie or a very old-fashioned handmade clothing. Bizarre electrical phenomena can occur when they're around, such as garage doors opening unexpectedly. Fudge that. If I was home alone in my garage door, just like, nope. Hell no.
For real.
Because who honestly, locks that door all the time?
The garage door?
The garage. Mm-hmm.
I don't have one, so I don't know.
Well, I never did when we rented in a house. There's just, a door that was always unlocked.
Ugh.
Which is very bad now that I think about that.
Yeah, probably.
So, what exactly is this growing phenomena? Who are these sinister-appearing black-eyed children? Are they interdimensional beings who feed off the energy of fear they create? Are they perhaps an alien-human hybrid? Are they demonic? Are they simply a modern urban legend of the computer age? Or, my theory is vampires. 10 out of 10, living my Twilight or Twatlight, whatever you want to call it, fantasy.
I want to know what happens if anybody has ever let them in, though. Do you die, or...
Do I have a story for you?
Interesting.
So, this one is actually from a Reddit thread that is just black-eyed kid stories. So, this was posted by Sam Janney, and it's actually titled, "Just Let Them In Because... ...
Don't fucking do it.
Black-eyed children should be revered. The short explanation, let them in, don't be afraid because they won't hurt you. They are only recruiting you so that false religions are forgotten. Too many dead in the name of God. Let's give these young pagan creatures a chance. The fear of the unknown is reasonable, but only those who dare can overcome it and understand the facts." the long explanation, and I hope this is true, but I don't know. It was late October 2019. I was cooking while listening to my favorite radio station when I heard someone knock at the door. I was wondering who could it possibly be, given that I live alone, and at the moment I was not waiting for anyone. But since I was used to accepting Amazon deliveries from some neighbors, I headed straight for the entrance while the knocking grew stronger and more insistent. The situation was weird since the couriers normally use the doorbell until then, but at the moment I didn't give it much importance. I opened the door and found myself in front of a child who appeared to be more or less 10 years old. He was wearing some strange clothes. I thought he could come from the countryside. He immediately told me, "I need help. Let me in." I asked him why and where his parents were. Was he lost? He simply replied, "I have to enter." The voice was flat, monotone, and almost synthetic. It was not the kind of voice that you would have expected from a child. At first, I could not look him straight in the face, partly because it was twilight, and partly because he was looking towards my feet. But then he put his hand on the door frame. There was something odd that I couldn't explain, and it was scaring me. I didn't know exactly what it was, but he was just a child. I wanted to close the door, but I couldn't do it. Something in my mind prevented me, perhaps the internal conflict that breaks out when something you take for granted turns out to be different without giving you the ability to assimilate it. At that point, he stared at me, and I immediately realized that his eyes were solid black. There was no iris, only pure darkness. It was just a surreal situation. He was there, right before my very eyes, and I was scared. I kept staring at him, being unable to look away from that deep black. I was stuck. In a flat, calm voice, he said, "I need help. Let me in. I'm just a child."
Ugh.
My body wanted to abruptly close the door with force, but his eyes told me not to do it. My mind told me not to do it. Lisa. I felt compelled to do what he was asking me. The only thought in my mind was, in fact, he is just a child who simply needs help. I moved aside and let him in. He kept looking at me with his empty eyes. The odd thing is that they were empty, but at the same time, they instilled me with a sense of peace I have never felt before. At this point, I didn't know if he was speaking verbally or telepathically. I was confused. It was like he was inside my head. He introduced himself as Eli, he took my hand, and I felt a slight electric current go through my skin. The same kind of feeling when you put your laptop's power supply on the skin and your hand stands up. I don't know exactly what he did at that moment, but he told me about religions and death, and how they were used for a purpose of power, how reality was distorted. He showed me horrible things, unspeakable events, and I felt his suffering. All in the name of God, whatever religion it is. He also told me that the God we believe does not exist, and there are only energy and souls, and I believed him. He said that he would come back. He simply left the house, turned the corner, and to this day I have never seen him again. I'll wait for him, but to date, and this was shared like 2 weeks ago, to date, no negative events have occurred due to that encounter.
That's crazy.
Isn't it? It's kind of like a little Jehovah's Witness, but like supernatural.
Scary Jehovah's Witness.
Do you have a moment to talk about the Dark Underlord? Have you thought about selling your soul to the Dark Underlord?
Oh my god. I hear squeaky toys.
Oh my gosh, yeah. My dogs got squeaky toys for Christmas, and they were the loudest flippin' things in the world. God. I think he's probably downstairs squeaking.
Okay, well, I wouldn't have expected that, like, positive.
This was, like, the only one where they actually, like, let him in. Everybody else is just like, no.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Especially with that, like, feeling dread. I don't know.
Yeah. Because sure as shit, I ain't never opening the door for anybody. I'm not letting anybody in.
Well, and it's like with the skinwalker, too. You're not supposed to let the skinwalker in, right? Isn't that... They can't come in your house unless they're invited?
Yeah, it reminded me of that story that you read with the one running around, like, the outside of the house.
Where it pressed its face up against the window or whatever.
Oh my god, I hate it. Terrifying, man.
Okay, so I have a couple of stories about black-eyed children from Reddit. This is from the subreddit Paranormal. The first one is by Harmonic Content. It was posted a year ago. I once worked at a department store as a warehouse stalker guy. One night, I was on a ladder and saw this girl. She looked like she was in her 20s, but was dressed like a little girl. She had blonde pigtails and a pink dress with a lacy tutu-like pink bottom on it. She was leading this old woman around the store, begging for candy and toys, much like a small child would. I thought it was odd, and was just watching from 10 feet above them. The old woman was not responding and just seemed dazed as this girl was throwing things in her cart and laughing. The girl turned and made eye contact with me, and I have never been more frightened in my life. Her eyes were blacked out, like blackout contact style. She kind of snarled at me and laughed. It was terrifying. I got down that ladder in record time and went to my warehouse, terrified, and told my coworkers. They laughed at me and went looking for the duo and could not find them anywhere. They thought maybe it was a weird kink or something that these two were playing out.
Maybe.
The cashier said they saw the old woman buying all of the candies and toys, but there was no girl with her.
Oh, what if she's, like, possessed, or she has, like, a demon, like, following her, and that's why she was in a daze? Oh, I hate it. Oh, I hate it. Oh, that could be so many things.
Yeah, that's it for that one.
Ew.
The next one is by Cinnamon Peaches 13, and this was also posted a year ago. I am not entirely sure if what I saw was a black-eyed child, but it scared the crap out of me either way. I live in a village, which is considered a village by its size, so everyone knows everyone else, blah, blah, blah. I had my door open to my apartment one summer evening, sweeping my kitchen floor, when all of a sudden I heard someone at the screen door. I looked...
People, go away!
I looked over to see a kid, maybe 11 or 12 years old. I couldn't see his face in the dark. For some reason, I was filled with terror, covered in chills. This was just a kid, though, right? "Can I come in?" he asked. "No, I don't know you." He then proceeds to introduce himself, and I was so terrified I can't even recall his name. Then he says, "Now you know me. Can I come in?" He is very persistent on entering my home and wondering why he can't come in. I ended up shutting the door on him and doing a lockdown of the apartment. No idea to this day who that kid was.
It's like they're vampires, man. You can't enter unless they're, like... Oh, and I read this one story that these kids are even trying to get into, like, a car, but they couldn't.
Ugh. This one is by Purple Vein 99, also a year ago. My boys and I went to South Padre Island a couple of summers ago and were hanging out at the beach. There were a lot of people there, and this kid comes up to me and asks if he can have my water. I say something like, "Here, sweetie, don't drink mine," and hand him a bottle from our cooler. He didn't take it. He wanted mine. It startled me. He reached for my bottle again, and I said no, and he started to cry and stomped off. I don't know why, but I felt unsettled by the interaction. I watched him walk off towards someone else, and my own kids came running up, and they said they were hungry, so we packed up and left. I didn't think of it again until later when my boys mentioned a weird kid walking around asking people for their drinks.
Ugh.
My oldest, 17 at the time, said the kid actually grabbed his bottle of water, and my son said no, and sent the little boy my way for a fresh bottle. The kid wasn't a toddler. He was maybe 8 to 10. I didn't notice his eyes being black or anything, but did find it strange that he specifically wanted bottles of water that we had been drinking from. It was marginally creepy.
Oh, that is weird. Well, what do you think? What is your hypotheses?
I don't know. There seems to be a lot of stories, but yeah, I always wonder with, like, the internet and the internet culture, if, like, they would be around if we didn't. Kind of like Slender Man. Like, we all know Slender Man's.
Yeah.
It started as a creepypasta, so not real.
Yeah. That's true, because, like, the guy I originally, like, opened with, he was, like, the first one to kind of bring it to light in, like, the 80s or 90s, and then from there, like, other people kind of came out and was like, oh, I've seen that, and oh, I know what you're talking about, and then from there it was, like, wildfire, but at the same time, like, vampires, like, the legend of, like, a vampire has been around since medieval times, like, literally, so it's just, like, maybe this is kind of like a weird modern-day vampire kind of thing going on?
Maybe, I don't know. I don't think I believe in vampires either, though, but...
Yeah, me neither. That's kind of more far-fetched than aliens, per se.
Yeah. One of the other stories I read, it was like a guy who was looking out his apartment window and watching the black-eyed children knock on somebody else's door, and, like, he had a feeling of dread. They looked up at him, watching from the window, yeah. And the person ended up slamming the door in their face, and he was, like, terrified that they were going to come after him, so he, like, went inside and locked the door, and then he heard footsteps on his roof.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He said they, like, dematerialized in front of him. And then, yeah.
Yikes. I thought I had a second story of this one lady with her door, and this kid was, like, being super, super persistent and actually, like, getting mean and was, like, kind of yelling, but she saw him, like, through the peephole, and they actually, like, looked at the peephole. Like, they knew, I don't know, and then so she just, like, ran in her room and sat on her bed and just, like, kind of curled up while they were like, you need to let me in, like, I know you're there, and blah, 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 and, like, eventually they, like, just disappeared.
Yo.
So I'm like, you need to, like, put some salt in front of your doorstep?
I will punch a little black-eyed child in the face.
Right? Oh, hell yeah. Just makes me, I don't know, like, they can't get into your house unless you invite them. So, it's like, what's preventing them?
Yeah, and...
I don't know. It's crazy.
I was reading it was in that Reddit, the subreddit that I was looking at, and people were asking if anybody let them in and what had happened. Did they die? Did they get possessed?
Right? Do they remember?
According to that one, no, but who knows? Well, that was a short one this week. We didn't have a whole lot of stories. I'm sure you can find a lot and on Reddit. They all seem to be pretty similar. Do you guys think the black-eyed children are real? Let us know.
Yes. 10 out of 10. Leaning towards yes, but more likely a demonic demon thing is what I'm thinking.
I have no idea. Maybe we can find out some more information another time.
That's right. Now, I'm gonna go nurse my hangover and take a little nappy.
We will see you next week, Ghosties.
See you later. Ciao, ciao, Ghosties.
Bye-bye.
That wraps up the Spooky Scary Show. If you've enjoyed this podcast, click that like or follow button. We are available on Spotify, iTunes, and all major podcast streaming services. Spooky Scary Show is an independent podcast with big dreams. So if you would like to show your support, check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/Spooky Scary Show. Also, join in on the conversation. Follow us on Instagram at Spooky Scary Show for science and spooky facts. Scary you later. Spooky.